Hi, my name is Fasi Ahmed, and I'm gonna be representing my case study, which is Target Canada's failure and its withdrawal. Uh, um, my two partners are Prema and Simriti, and I will be starting with introduction. Next slide, please. The Target Canada case is a classic case in international business and retail strategy study. This failure is interesting to study because it reveals the complexity of market entry and expansion for large, well-developed companies such as Target. The topic was chosen as it was a topic to analyze strategic missteps and operational challenges that tanked the company as soon as it reached to a foreign market. When Target, a major US retailer, established its first step in Canada, it comes in with high expectations, yet was met by suffocating supply influences. This case is important because it helps understand the risk associated with international expansion and the need to modify business plans in accordance with conditions of the market. How Target Canada failed was due to lack of planning of logistics and is underestimating the market research and overestimate the consumer demand. Lack of product on time and at competitive prices caused loss of customer trust and brand loyalty of the company. Also, Target failed to deal with culture differences, local market preference, and finally, this is how Target faced the fall. Next slide, please. In in um, in 2013, the U.S. leading retailer Target Corporation ventured into the Canadian market with its wide range of products and at competitive prices. The company considered their entry to Canada as an opportunity for expansion as a market that was already familiar with U.S. retail brands. Typically, when Target arrived in Canada and it opened 124 stores, which is a good number, and to further target both urban and suburban demographic areas, the strategic objective of the company was to capitalize on the Canadian underserved retail market. With the pre-existing market players such as Walmart and Costco. The main purpose behind Target's establishment was to be a go-for retailer for cheap and quality products in all categories, like clothing, housewares, groceries, and electronics. Leveraging its well-known brand in Canada's US, the company also sought to attract the Canadian consumers, especially in areas of high retail demand of urban areas. With the goal of differentiating itself from stores in the region, still creating a similar shopping experiences as in its US stores, the company envisioned creating better store layouts with exclusive house brands. Next slide, please. Problem identification. Several problems were being identified. A combination of operational challenges, misinterpretation of the market, and the definitely unrealistic financial expectation led to the failure of Target in Canada. Target also faced frequent stock shortages as well as empty shelves that alienated customers as one of the main operational problems. It couldn't work out for them. Additionally, Target failed to recognize complex local preferences and consumer behavior in the Canadian market. Likewise, the company's pricing strategy was continuous and it did not confirm the Canadian consumers' perception of the validity of affordable commodities, as prices were sometimes perceived as higher than US equivalents. The failure at Target was not to just Target, but also its stakeholders such as employees, suppliers, and stakeholders. The withdrawal of the Target caused huge financial loss and also tarnished its brand image. Furthermore, the Canadian retail landscape had been disrupted after Target's exit, and the Target exit created a vacancy which the remaining players in a Canadian retail landscape, such as Walmart and regional retail, filled. Now, my next teammate, Prema, will discuss.
Hi, so now I'll be discussing about discussion and analysis, and there are three parts mainly to be covered, like market entry, strategy, and missteps, which is like critical strategic errors of an entry into Canada mark target, entry into like Canada. Like also the company didn't go do enough market research, understand that there was a gap between their products and how the Canadian consumer behavior is, and expected different product availability, price, and store and experience. However, there was a wide disappointment and frustration among consumers' behavior, and had higher prices, and their it didn't meet their standards. In addition, Target underestimated the strength and loyalty that existed among Canadians for their local retailers. And when it comes to operational and supply chain challenges, but an essential behind Target fall was its bad and supply chain management. Instead of adapting existing systems, Target tried implementing new distribution channels and to attract the customers, which is almost entirely unsuccessful. Inventory mismatches, the plague, and everything. Opening more than 100 stores in such a short span became a very huge pressure to the Target. When brand perception and consumer trust in Canada, Target brand suffered like severe damages that match the consumers' expectations with store experience. The expectation of the Canadians was the same high standards of affordability, variety, quality, and the fashion, which would be present in the stores as like seen in the US. Despite his, however, the consumers are not satisfied, and they are also inconsistent. And now I'll be explaining about SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis for this is like strengths. Target entered Canada with strong brand recognition, with a positive reputation built on offering trendy stylish products to the customers, so they can get with that fashion and everything. But in the United States, Target was known for delivering superior shopping experiences with clean, welcoming environment. The weakness for them is like, despite these trends, Target Canada were burdened severe weaknesses. The company suffered severely flawed supply chain, resulting in empty shelves, poor inventory management, and many more. And their expansion strategy is not up to Canadian market. And opening 100 stores in short time, it's like operational capabilities did not allow them enough time to refine the process and correctly, like with their early mistakes. Opportunities: Target had significant opportunities to succeed in Canadian market. The retail sector in Canada was growing at that time, with this very strong demand for discount retail prices and with the various varieties. There was a gap for a stylish yet affordable retailer, which Target well positioned to fill. When it comes to threats, however, the external threats were considerable. Walmart and Costco were already well established in Canada, with a very strong customer support and loyalty, and highly efficient with lower cost operations. These competitors offer lower prices and the product availability, making it hard for the Target to reach the customers, retain the customers, and everything. And now I'll be explaining about the pestle analysis. Pestle analysis, once come to the political thing, Canada offered a stable political environment, which made it attractive for business investment. However, complex regulatory frameworks, difficulties related to land acquisition delayed target openings, and also unforeseen challenges they have faced. Economic: while Canada's economy was strong, it did not allow them to allow Target to maintain the same low pricing model in the like as United States. If you compare, higher operating cost taxes, logistical expenses in Canada meant prices were very less competitive. And when it comes to social, Target failed to adequately address the shopping behavior or differences between the Canada and US. Canadian consumers expected more competitive prices and a wider range of products compared to US. Technological. Target's inventory and supply chain management systems in Canada were poorly developed, frequently getting the stock out like in the stores, and the inventory mismatches and technology issues in warehouse operations is one of the main reason for them to fail in the Canada. Environmental. Although environmental factors were less significant, Target missed an opportunity to differentiate itself about the sustainable practices. Emphasizing eco-friendly initiatives could have enhanced the brand image of how Target is among the Canadian customers who are generally environmentally conscious. Once it comes to legal, Target underestimated the complexity of Canadian labor laws and regulatory compliance requirements. Employment standards and regulations, legal costs were significantly different from the US if compared to the Canadian consumers. Now, Smriti will be taking over from here.
Thank you, Prema. Okay, so what are the Target Canada competitive and collaborative strategy? So in terms of competitive strategy, Target was only based on US market brand and reputation, and it didn't have any pricing strategy, particular pricing strategy. And in terms of collaboration, Target was working independently, it executed independently, and it was not collaborating with any Canadian suppliers, vendors, or retailers. Because of this, it faced a lot of financial loss as well. So instead of that, it should have focused on setting a lower pricing model, gradual market expansion, and should have collaborated with Canadian suppliers and local retailers. Next slide, please. So to conclude, even though Target was a strong retailer in US market, but still after opening in about 2 years in Canada, it faced a huge financial loss and it needs to close down its store because of operational mismanagement, inadequate market investigation, unrealistic expectation, and poor pricing and product strategy. So we need to understand that whenever we are trying to scale to a new market, we must consider local adaptation, pricing and operational effectiveness, and also make a planned market expansion. Next slide, please. So after studying the problem faced by Target Canada, we have made few recommendations, such as first one is phased rollout. So we first need to conduct few test stores instead of opening 124 stores in a year. We need to first test with few stores and then do gradual expansion. This could have prevented or fixed Target supply chain problems and would have created a smooth customer experience. Similarly, we also need to improvise logistics management to avoid stockouts and to create a positive customer experience. Likewise, we need to create a competitive pricing strategy where we need to make availability of wide variety of products with lower pricing that beats its competitors like Walmart and Costco in Canada. Similarly, we also need to Target Canada should also need to collaborate with Canadian suppliers and local retailers so that it would have been easy for a smooth supply chain management and for good pricing, and also to understand the market understanding of Canadian market. So that's all what we have planned for today. With this, I would like to conclude the presentation here, and thank you all for participating. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.